Welcome to another episode of the Big Brothers of Destruction podcast. It's your host who likes to post, the Mazaku.
And it's your boy, Swag Switcher, in the building with his alternate attire, rocking gold instead of plat.
You know, it's funny because I wear red more than anything, and I'm wearing blue today, so it's like quite interesting that the roles have reversed. But guys, we actually have a very interesting situation today. I want to see if Swag realizes. Do you know what episode number this is?
I don't think I do.
This is our 50th episode.
Oh, is it real?
And we recently got 50 subscribers. So it's interesting. 50-50. That to me,
well, look at that.
That's a lucky situation. So, you know, I want to say for the fact that we have 50 subscribers and we're on episode 50. Thank you guys so much who have been rocking with us, whether if it's on Spotify or any of the platforms we have, especially BuzzFeed. For those people who actually download us, I always find it interesting when I find people are downloading and listening to our episodes.
Which is dope.
Yeah, so that's always a really interesting thing I see when I go on BuzzFeed. But to say 50 is where we're at right now and 50 more in the future.
All right. So if this is 50, that means
we've been doing this for 50 weeks.
Well, 50 weeks, but so that would mean 2 more weeks will be a year.
Yeah. So
it's a very
March?
Yeah, no, it would be
March, yeah.
Yeah, it would be March.
It was around for WrestleMania season.
As a matter of fact, not just that, but we literally started right after the Elimination Chamber.
Yes, when we saw Cena's situation, yeah.
Because now I'm gonna have to I gotta go back and watch the first couple of episodes just to
see the difference,
just to see how we because I remember. We first started off feeling like this is about to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is about to be the greatest thing ever.
It is. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about the John Cena heel turn. That, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you mean that. I thought you meant the pod
itself. Oh, no. The pod is fantastic. It has never stopped being fantastic. Wrestling is a different story. I feel as if when we decided that we were like, hey, let's do this podcast. All right, F it. Let's just go full speed into it. And then we started doing it. We literally started on it as wrestling was doing this.
Yes. It was just in a decline.
Wrestling had just got to this point. And as soon as we started the podcast,
because everything we start talking about, we feel like the bad guys. Because some people's opinions are well, this is how we no, it's just trash. What's going on is trash. This is trash, and we just kept feeling. I was starting to feel bad at one point, but then you'll see what happens next week when I'm on the episode. But I had to say for the first year of doing this has been a blast, and going on into next year, hopefully we can talk better about wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
Talk better, at least. Because today's topic is talking about a very... It's a thing you see constantly in wrestling where it's supposed to help build the other superstars or wrestlers in set group or faction or unit, whatever you want to call it, depending on what type of wrestling you watch. In America, we call it faction. In Japan, they call them units.
I didn't realize that.
They call them units.
So factions are units in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we Americanize them by calling factions. So every unit that is in Japan and every faction that's in America. I don't know about Mexico. I don't know what they do with that. I would think they're factions, but I'll have to look that up. But again, today's topic is just talking about, man, the actual nature of a faction and what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to benefit all wrestlers in some way, shape, or form, but also push or elevate the main wrestler of the group. So a couple of factions we can talk about, like the New World Order, which it was elevating, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. It was built on them, and the unit was supposed to keep elevating them. But then you have DX, which DX is technically a faction if you think about it, but really the original version was just a tag team. But the faction later on, which had X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, which technically everybody would say out of the most talented in the ring was Billy Gunn, but Triple H was the faction leader who benefited the most from the faction. Evolution, we have
Real quick, just because with what you said, so you would say Billy Gunn over X-Pac?
as in athleticism, yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because Billy Gunn, bro, but you remember that Royal Rumble? He went out there with no boot on and wrestled with 1 foot.
I mean, yes, that
And
was
he
a
made,
thing.
even though he was still wrestling on 1 foot, he still made it look good.
All right, listen, I was just saying because there are some who could argue that X-Pac at the time.
Oh, he had the best heat at that time, yes. But athleticism, I always felt like it was Billy. He just didn't know how to talk. Billy just didn't know how to talk.
I don't think even now he's not much of a talker.
No, he isn't. He's always been.
But then again,
we got 2 words for that was it.
I also think that he himself also knows that at this point,
and that's why he's a genetic freak. I mean, look at him at 50 plus. Man, still looks like how he did it. Matter of fact, he looks better.
I'm not saying 50 plus. I'm pretty certain he's solid in his 60s, if I'm not mistaken.
Again, 50, still 50 plus, and he still looks like how he even better than in the Attitude Era. I mean, his body is just muscle, and everybody else, Road Dogg, Hunter, X-Pac, all of them look like grandpas.
Now, in Triple H's defense,
I mean, yeah, the heart situation.
His heart did say, "I quit."
Okay, but
so that wasn't by choice on Triple H's part. His body said, "Nah, ain't gonna cut it." So
that's not gonna work for me, brother.
Listen, that his heart said, "Ooh, you got me."
Like Hulk Hogan his ass.
So like I said, his heart said, "Ooh, you got me, brother."
But to go back into an evolution, or some people say evolution, which is crazy. Evolution. You have Ric Flair, you have Batista, you have Randy Orton, you have Triple H. Now, interestingly enough, in this faction, at least 3 of the people in it elevated and became world champions or were world champions. Ric Flair was just as he was an addition to the group, right?
I wouldn't just say that. I would dare to say that Evolution, out of all the factions that are out there, kind of thing, even though a lot of people really did not like Evolution for this or that, Evolution actually did what a faction is supposed to do.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing on that. I'm just talking about Ric Flair. He wasn't a world champion.
Sure, he was not a world champion, but Ric Flair being in that faction, it did elevate Ric Flair.
Absolutely. What I'm going to the point is when you look into a faction, as people try to see factions, they see it as, hey, we're supposed to elevate everybody in the group. If you look at DX, you look at NWO, especially NWO, not everybody was elevated at some point. Like Road Dogg never went for a heavyweight title. He never even had an opportunity to go for the belt once. Billy Gunn may have had, but The Rock shoot that shit down. X-Pac, if he may have done it, it was probably I will try for the belt, but I'm definitely losing that night.
But then there is the question of what. So are you seeing as being elevated as
a world champion,
being someone who went for a world heavyweight title?
No, I mean as in, okay, the group is done. Are you still a main addition to the story itself? Okay, yeah, X-Pac later on made it the X Factor. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn went to TNA. They have their legacies. Trust me, they have their legacies. But when I say elevate, is that it made them into stars.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They made them into stars. And Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, they weren't stars in the WWE after DX deformed. They had to go to TNA, build up their value, and then I don't even think they even came back as a tag team in WWE. They were just donezo. And X-Pac.
Well, so with what you're saying right now, I would say it's maybe a little rougher when it comes to like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. However, Billy Gunn did go on to be relatively successful after
Yeah,
DX.
yeah.
So it's like, and like directly after DX, I don't think he was like, I still think that those particular people were elevated. They may not have been elevated to a super top tier, but like after Degeneration X like dispersed, they did still hold and maintain a value
Okay.
kind of
I
thing.
still say if
Because what was it? Road Dogg later on, he ended up joining up with K Quick
yeah,
at the time, and they had their run.
but he stayed in that lane, is what I'm saying. He always stayed in that tag team lane. Road Dogg can never successfully be a singles competitor. If only singles competitor action he ever had was hardcore title and maybe an intercontinental and European. But like even after the deforming of DX, he was always in a tag team. He was never doing shit himself. So this is why I was getting ready. I'm breaking down all the other factions and getting to what I believe. If you look at the faction itself and where they are in the future, this is technically the greatest faction of all time, and that is the Shield. Everybody in the Shield evolved into something beyond the Shield. Like, yes, you could talk about the Shield and say the Shield itself was great, but look at Seth Rollins, look at Roman, look at technically Dean Ambrose. I mean, even when he was Dean Ambrose, he had a heavyweight title. You know, he had main event status. Seth Rollins had main event status. Roman Reigns, it took him time, but he made it to being that elevated superstar that Vince wanted for years. And even after leaving WWE, Jon Moxley is still as fucking popular as possible. So it's like that faction alone, if you're talking about what made them who they are today, the Shield is the best faction of all time.
So we're using the Shield as like the measuring stick for
Yes.
a faction's success.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I still haven't gotten to the rest of the factions themselves, but like I'm wanting to measure it to that because to me, if we're looking at what they did after the faction was done and where they are, and they're still getting heavyweight titles, they're still, being in that main spot. We got again the Four Horsemen. We got and I'm also including Japan, by the way, too, because that was kind of where the original conversation came about. We have LIJ, we have Chaos, we have the Bullet Club, we have House of Torture, we have United Empire. There's so many different factions, and yes, it's always really cool to have a group of people in the faction to bounce off of, create great energy with, and sometimes that energy can create people into stars. But what I noticed in time, especially looking at the recent Unbound company that was created in New Japan, they literally took two different factions and fused them together because those two factions either crumbled or lost way too many members. So they had no choice, but like they're leaderless, they have no direction, nothing's going on, and they just said, fuck it, fuse. And hopefully that'll fix the situation. And honestly, it to me, I don't see it happening because we have people like David Finlay leaving. He's already in talks about potentially going to NXT. We got LIJ members, Takahashi. He's leaving New Japan for a time period of just like being away. We don't know where he's going. We don't know if he's going to Noah, All Japan. He's just going away. And I don't know if you saw that episode where Yoto Ice, he was crying like a baby, bro.
Yeah.
That was a funny photo, though. I ain't gonna lie. I don't blame him, though. Your homie leaves you. You've been hanging out with the homie forever, and you tell me you leave it, bro? You leave it, bro? Yeah, I would have been the same way.
I was like, don't do him like that.
No, I'm saying I would have been the same way. I just agreed. But he was baby crying. Like they took a whole group photo. He's supposed to be this tough macho, like, and he, get care off me, bro. I would have been the same way. But I would be like, let me fix face. All right, let's do the photo. All right, man, back to this. But I say all that to say is that when I look at places like Japan and their units, I do not feel like their units are built to elevate people. I feel like they're just like, yo, we're a bunch of guys. Let's put us together and let's just go with it. The only time I've ever seen a faction or a unit make like waves in Japan was the fucking Bullet Club. When that first got created, oh, with Prince Devin, boy, Gaijins back. You haven't really seen a lot of people get like afraid of Gaijins, like terrified. And when the Bullet Club started, man, those Gaijins were just like the most hated individuals. I mean, loved but hated. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Lij when we had Naito, there was a great faction because Naito was the leader, and then you had Chaos, which Okada became leader at one point, which technically that was Shinsuke Nakamura's team, but then Okada took over as Shinsuke Nakamura left WWE. So I say all this to say is I'm wondering nowadays, are factions actually made to elevate wrestlers, or they're just made to just bunch people together because they don't know what the fuck to do with them?
I guess, in my opinion on that particular question is depending on what show you're watching.
Okay, so give me some examples of what like factions that are actually doing good and ones that are completely shit. Because I already know one you're gonna talk about is complete shit.
So when it comes to a faction that's doing good, let's try and see if we can start there.
Yep.
I would say, and even then it's slightly shaky, but I would say right now, the Vision, I think, is a faction that's, as I currently speak, I feel is doing good. Is doing the job of bringing these particular faces to a higher level. Now, I will say that I think that with Seth Rollins gone from the faction has made that process feel a little bit slower. However, I also feel like what they've done so far, they have solidified Braun Breaker as a main event talent. All right. That much they have done. They have, to me, I feel like they have done Bronson Reed a solid enough favor where he is belonging and deserving to be in the main event.
Plus has like the most protected finisher in WWE right now.
And that is a very important thing to have in the year of our who knows what a finisher is and why do they not work anymore. Jesus Christ. So like when it comes to the Vision though, because then there's Logan Paul. The only person right now who I feel is getting
even Austin Theory.
No, he's the one who's getting the shit into the stick.
Austin Theory. Okay.
Because right now, Austin Theory, because of the time frame that he's kind of joining in right now, he's joining in where these guys were in a process of being built to be main eventers. And then Austin Theory, what hurts him is the fact that he, going into this, was shit. So he has a lot of like making up to do. Like I almost compare it to how I felt like. Remember when Chavo Guerrero, like a little bit after Eddie Guerrero passed away and everything, and you know, and the Corbin White shit blew up in their face.
Shit,
and
bro.
Then Eddie Guerrero was just kind of out here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember how badly Chavo was just getting shat on?
Yes, because he wasn't. Unfortunately, I think in Vince's eyes, you're not Eddie.
Correct. Which is true. He was not. But at the same time, Chavo wasn't bad. Mm-hmm. He was just small for all intents and purposes.
Which Ray was too, but Ray had a larger than life character.
Correct.
And Chavo didn't have that same
charisma.
Chavo
was just a Guerrero's cousin. Nephew.
Yeah, I saw him.
So,
oh my gosh, terrible.
So there's that whole bit, right? We remember how like Chavo would just, every time he was out, all right, Chavo's losing this match, let's keep him pushing. Like it got to that point, right? After that happens, I do believe Chavo goes, like once his contract is up, Chavo goes
He goes to
TNA.
Lucha. He goes to I could have sworn he went to Lucha first.
No. Lucha wasn't here yet.
Lucha, he was in the first taping of Lucha.
Yes. When did Lucha Underground start?
I think it was 2006.
No. Lucha Underground was like 2014 time.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, 2000, maybe 2015, 2016 probably.
Yes,
but
it was definitely within that time frame.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, so Chavo was taking all these L's.
Right. Now, no, okay, remember that. I remember that TNA run now. Yeah.
So he goes to TNA. For me, even though he's on a whole new channel and a whole new broadcasting and all this other stuff.
A whole new world.
For all intents and purposes, yes, and he is indeed in a whole new world, completely uncanon to WWE. But even though he crossed over, to me, he still had that stank of
Eddie's nephew.
Sure, if you want to call it that, but that stank of jobber is what it was.
Oh, okay.
Because Eddie Guerrero was just a jobber. My first WrestleMania, Chavo Guerrero. Yeah, I keep saying Eddie.
Yeah,
my first WrestleMania, Chavo went into a match with Kane.
Oh, the
Kane
squash.
Came into the ring. He chokeslammed him, pinned him, and took the ECW title from him at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Fantastic moment for me. Looked real shitty on Chavo.
Yes.
And from that point forward, Chavo would lose. He never won anything. Then for him to go to TNA and win a match, it felt unbelievable.
Yo, they telling me they destroyed him so bad that you was like, nah, fan, that don't make sense, bro.
For me, yes. Because he lost that much. Like I almost want to take my phone and just look up
cage
Chavo
match.
Guerrero's like tail end of his WWE run.
Just look up
and
cage match.
Look at how many L's he took during that time frame. He lost every single time. And so it's like when you lose like that and then all of a sudden you want to turn around and start winning, to me, it didn't make any sense. And it was really hard for me to get behind Chavo in TNA and believe.
And it's weird you say that because when I saw him in Lucha Underground, he was the lie cheating still, but a scummy way. So when he was going against Blue Demon and like the legend that he was and using his steel cherries, I'm like, okay, I can believe this Chavo. He can't beat you straight up, but he'll cheat his ass off, which still goes with the lie, cheat, steal, but in a heel way. And everything he did was very believable at that point.
Now, I would also say by the time that he had got there, plenty of years had passed to wash off that WWE
state.
He did TNA and then he did some indie stuff and then he landed there. But it's like with Austin Theory, what was he doing last time? The last time we saw him, he was with Grayson Waller, getting hit in the face by, getting punked out, by the way. Punked out and just straight jabbed in the face by Kevin Owens.
Yep.
Constantly.
Yep.
And then it ended with Kevin Owens, if I'm not mistaken, beating their ass.
Yep.
And then shortly after, he disappeared. And so it's like, for him to now come back and now he's so big and bad, because it's not like, I mean, he's a little bit beefier from the last time he was here, but he's always been super clanked and in shape. But it's like, before he disappeared, was it John Cena beat his ass, didn't he? Actually, no, wait.
No.
John Cena.
John Cena lost against him at
John
Mania.
Cena actually let him take
that.
He
actually, because that's what Vince asked. Vince asked that from him. Let me, so I can elevate him. Yeah,
because Vince was still there. And then after Vince disappeared, Austin Theory became garbage.
I used to hate his A-Town down. It's checking out. Like, oh my god, bro. Like, anytime he'll come out to the ring, I'm just like, yo, skip, get this theme song out of here. And his new theme song isn't that much better, but it's not. You know, it's better than A-Town Down. It's better than that. But I don't like his new presentation. He looks like he needs to be in the Death Riders.
So as far as that goes, that's neither here nor there. But it's like right now with the way that Austin Theory for me kind of comes off as, because of him coming into this much bigger and better of group when it comes to the clientele that they have. It's like he's like a solid like mid-tier jobber joining a bunch of main eventers, and he has not been supremely presented in that main event way as how everybody else has.
The thing about an Austin Theory is, man, he has the ability to be like the next Miz, right? When Miz says, "Hey, I'm done being in the ring," he has that longevity to do what Miz is doing, and then potentially get a title run with that at some point. But like putting him in the Vision to me just made no sense unless Seth gave us a reason. And right now we don't have a reason. I don't know if Paul Heyman is given a good reason or whatever, but I feel like for Seth Rollins' vision, I would have rolled with it a little bit longer. Okay, you say you want an Austin Theory? Explain that now. Like, if you added him into the function, let Seth explain why he feels like that's for his vision. Everything at the point in the beginning of this is Seth Rollins' vision. Okay, what is your vision of WWE? What is your vision of dominance as a faction, as a group? And you see that immediately with Braun Breaker, and you saw that with Bronson Reed. And I'm okay, a little bit of Logan Paul. I can see why he's there. I can see it, but now when you're not there, Seth, and you're not there to explain why, and then suddenly Austin Theory. Well, I mean, the Vision's technically gone now because Seth is not a part of the faction anymore. He got edged.
Well,
he got literally edged with the Judgment Day.
Listen, when he says like he got edged, I'm like, pause.
Ooh,
slow down, brother.
You know what? Thank you for the pause check. Thank you for the pause check.
But to what you're saying, it went from being Paul Heyman's vision. Well, it went from being
Seth Rollins'
vision to, I guess, Paul Heyman's vision, because he's now more so he is now what we're seeing now is what he has envisioned, type situation. Now, when it comes to Austin Theory, as of right now, going back to the original thing that you were saying, like Austin Theory has a lot of work to do to make us believe anything that he's fucking doing.
And that's the thing, though, because that's a booking situation. That's not him. It's a booking situation.
Correct. However, my statement still stands. Is the fact that like he has to be presented in a way where we gotta wash that super mid card stank off of him, and it stains like fucking lasagna in plastic bins. You know what I'm saying?
Plastic containers, that stays on forever.
You whenever you mid card the fuck out of somebody, it's really hard to clean that off.
Okay, so we're talking about a faction now that you feel like is at least good. What is a faction or a unit to you that is complete shite?
I don't know if I'd want to call it shit, but like it's the
lowest of the totem pole, basically.
I don't know who is the lowest of the totem pole when it comes to a faction.
Okay, how about this? I guess in a sense of what is not elevating the team and it's just hurting the team.
Now for that, I would have to say the Death Riders.
Okay. That's why I figured you was going to pick anyway.
And it's like, and the thing is, the Death Riders aren't shit per se.
Because the wrestlers in the faction are amazing wrestlers.
They got great wrestlers.
Absolutely.
And it's not even so much that the faction is garbage. It's well, then going back to it, it is the booking of the faction.
Yeah,
the faction had been to a certain degree, the faction was being booked in a way where it at least kind of made sense. But in more recent times, their booking is really weird.
The booking they had when they had the heavyweight title was really good because it was like, man, you hated the Death Riders because they're preventing you from seeing the world title by putting it in a briefcase.
And there was a story and there was a certain message that the Death Riders were trying to get across.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, that message got completely lost in the sauce.
Yeah. Well, no, technically, once they lost the belt, they lost their narrative. They lost everything.
Well, not even that. So Jon Moxley was trying to go against the system of AEW and all of this jazz.
Not necessarily. His thing was, hey, the company is not what it used to be. Every champion, every person in here is not pushing themselves. Like, technically what he's doing right now is what he was doing before. Just for some reason he's doing this babyface shit now. And before it was like, yo, the company is not what it was. I don't believe anybody deserves to be the champion. And until somebody is deemable enough to beat me and take this title and fix the company, I will keep shitting on it and holding the belt because nobody deserves this belt right now. The company is not in the state it needs to be in. And that's why everybody was hating him, because it's like, why are you saying that the company is not good when you're the reason right now the company's not good because you're holding the belt away?
But then he also would go on these little tirades where he's talking about management and all this other stuff. And but my thing that I'm getting at is there was that narrative and they did nothing with it.
Oh, okay.
Like we didn't have like Tony Khan coming out there and denouncing the Death Riders.
He's not trying to be a part of everything anymore.
Well, I mean, that's fine. But like we didn't have a suit come out there.
I hate you for that.
Yeah, I hate you for that. I hate you for that. You're welcome.
I hate you for that.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
But we didn't. There wasn't like a suit in particular who was fighting against the Death Riders. Instead, it was just random niggas in the locker room randomly coming together, forming conglomerations and ops.
It is interesting you say the Death Riders because I feel like the Conglomeration makes no fucking sense and is doing nobody a favor.
Well, see, here's the problem. The reason why the Conglomeration doesn't make any sense, and I could almost argue that it's not actually, it actually is kind of helping the people who are in that circle. But the reason why the Conglomeration doesn't make any sense is because the Death Riders fucking story doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so you say the Conglomeration was supposed to be
against... The Conglomeration is a complete byproduct of the shitty storytelling that went into the Death Riders. Mm-hmm. Because there's no suits and ties who are trying to push the Death Riders back, and the closest to suits and ties that we had were the EVPs who
were dealing with the Don Callis.
Well, not even that. No, they were cool with the Don Callis family.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were trying to get with the Don Callis family. Yeah.
Well, yeah. For lack of better terms, yes. But like at that time, the EVPs, who were technically the suits, were on their own NWO pseudo arc of their own, trying to be like, hey, we run this place and we're going to do whatever we want because we're the EVPs of the company.
They actually did help them one time too. They actually helped the Death Riders one match. I remember that.
Yes, they did kind of help the Death Riders a couple of times. As a matter of fact, they were trying to like make a deal with the Death Riders. And you know what? That storyline fell through as well because nothing ever came of that and nothing ever made sense of it. And so it was like, whatever happened with the EVPs and the Death Riders? Because they would come out there and all it was so that, hey, we could do the Anarchy match. Yay! Get the Conglomeration and Swerve and the Billy Goat and the retiring, Tanahashi and
that match.
All that dump. So it was like their booking is what's been shite. Now, going back to the complete original bit that we were trying to say about the Death Riders is the fact that The only person I feel who has benefited from being in the Death Riders,
Moxley.
and that's barely.
Moxley.
No, that's a given.
Okay, so you're not talking about givens. Okay, Pac.
No,
Not Pac.
Pac is what has Pac done?
I mean, all right, so it's Claudio. It's Claudio.
It ain't him either.
Claudio's been a heavyweight champion from this shit.
For what company?
ROH. I get what you're about to say, but technically, he still won a world title. He still won. So who the fuck?
So first off,
it's not Wheeler and it's not fucking Daniel Garcia.
See, this is. Watch what I do here real quick. Claudio does not have the ROH title right now.
Not right now, but he had it. He did win it.
Oh, he did win it.
He did win it.
And you know what that did? Nothing.
Okay, but okay. That's why I said I knew he was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that.
The title that he currently has is the CMLL title is what. I thought you was talking about that belt.
No,
I was like, damn, bro, how you going to completely get that wrong?
No, I'm talking about ROH.
But then again, it's like him having the ROH title is like, no, it's not even that.
Let's get past this. Who is the one that you're talking about? I'm curious about this now.
Marina Shafir.
Okay.
Yeah. Out of everyone in the Death Riders who is not the person who put the group together. Because for me, when it comes to a faction, the leader of the faction to me does not count as the person that's getting over. They're already over. They're trying to bring the people who they have with them up. So for instance, if we're going over looking at the Vision, Braun Breaker is the person who needed to elevate, who was the main person being elevated, and everybody else got elevated with them when Seth Rollins was there because he brought them up kicking and screaming.
So here's the funny part about that then, if you're talking about that too, because technically CM Punk formed the Shield and he didn't need the rub, and they all three of them got what they needed out of that. So
I mean, which is fine.
So I was just connecting the dots where you were saying every leader doesn't count, and then I was like, well, the Shield didn't have a. But I was like, wait, CM Punk formed them. Never mind. Cool. Go ahead.
And so it's like when it comes to like Shafir, I feel as if she's the only one who has really been elevated to any degree, because her being with the Death Riders has, number one,
legitimized her as a wrestler.
It did that.
Yeah.
It also made her be this dangerous force of nature.
That is true.
And they've protected that for her for the most part. As far as
she has a very weird finisher though.
Yeah, the mother's milk.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. But it's like she's been protected in that particular aspect of her, looking strong in her matches.
Yes.
And like just being like this, she is someone that some of the women fear to go up against because they know she's a legitimate badass. But outside of her, Wheeler Yuta
got his haircut, which, by the way, I was kind of pissed off at that match. I thought both of them didn't get their haircut. But it's not the person who got pinned, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was whoever gets pinned gets their haircut.
That's now I knew Wheeler was getting his haircut.
I mean, we all knew he was getting his
haircut.
As soon as I said it was a hair match, like, all right, Wheeler's cutting his hair. He's finally ready.
Yeah, but I thought Marina, I would have made sense too if she did it. If they did pull the trigger on making them both do it, yeah.
If they were in the business of taking risks. Because apparently no one in wrestling takes risks anymore.
No.
Unless you're in the indie circuit. But it's like Wheeler Yuta, to me, has done nothing. Outside of being one of the person that turned on, what's his name, and put the bag on his head to start it all off.
Yeah.
Wheeler Yuta has done absolutely nothing.
Nope.
His nickname people call is Wheeler Useless, I've heard.
Damn.
Amongst
that's even worse than Penn Balor.
Yes, Wheeler Useless. And to me,
that's even like Sakura or North. God damn. All right, go ahead. Bro.
Yeah, yes. You might as well consider him the Sakura of the squad. honestly, but I would be lying if I said
Oh
that
my
because the
God.
person who was really the Sakura of that team is Danny Garcia.
I mean, that's a fact. Until before he got in the faction, though, it was him. It was Euler.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but
No.
now
But
he's
then Danny showed up, and what makes it worse is the fact that like it's like Danny Garcia wants to be so bad. He wants to be this person, and he's just not that. Like Danny being a part of Death Riders is probably the most stupidest and unnecessary move because Danny joins the Death Riders. What has he done story wise for the team?
And this is exactly what I was talking about. The original narrative. Are factions not made to elevate people anymore? Or are they really just, hey, you're not doing shit, go hang out with them now? And you could even see it with, like, say, when we watched TNA the other night with the system. You literally took out one black guy and put another black guy in.
Yeah, so the system is bad.
How did you feel about that tag match with the Righteous and the Hardys?
I mean, the match was
that was the system. Not system. That's the
the Order 4.
Order 4. Yeah.
So that team, to me, out of Order 4,
yeah,
is the most legitimate squad right now on TNA.
Yeah. Out of a faction, yes.
As far as the factions go,
they don't have that many factions in TNA.
They don't, but in the lineup for me, it's Order 4, the Elegance brand, and then
the Elegance brand is literally just a beautiful people mashup.
Which you're correct. It's the beautiful people.
It's like PMS, beautiful people, and a little bit of Le Cool.
No, well,
the Le Cool is from the mean jokes.
I would say it'd be more if that's the case. It's definitely beautiful people meets Le Cool.
Yeah,
or it's the beautiful people but make them full Barbie.
I say PMS because they have meat with them. The Elegance.
Oh, you're talking about the Mr. Elegance?
Yeah. That's why I say a little bit PMS because they got meat with them.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, right now with the groups that they have on there right now, because they don't really, which is the other thing when it comes to the factions is like when you're gonna you gotta have when you have you either have one main faction or you need to have at least like 3 to 4 other factions, especially if you want them to do something with each other. Like, the Japanese wrestling style of groups units, that they have, their units that they have, as far as the amount of them that they have, sure, that is fine. Because now they just fight each other.
Yeah, they're just fighting. So it's not like in America where everything is about story. It's like, yo, it's gang shit. Yeah, we fight.
Yeah, in Japanese wrestling, it's gang warfare.
Yeah, which is very Yakuza like, but not. Really. Unfortunately, I'm not disrespecting any of y'all. I'm just saying. I'm not disrespecting nothing. I'm just putting it out right now. Not disrespecting anything of that culture or saying you guys are the Yakuza. Not saying that. No, they don't play about that shit. Actually, did you know that Tajiri back in the day was having a little bit of a faction? He had 2 henchmen that were Japanese guys, and they looked very much like the Yakuza. And Tajiri was starting to get death threats in Japan about this faction. And he was like, yo, Vince, we got to stop it. He was like, what? It's getting old. No, like, people are thinking we're Yakuza. No, we can't do this.
That's funny.
It's legit. And I didn't even remember it. And I'm just like, wait, he did have the Cruiserweight title. He was doing all this. And I was like, wow, it was so quick. It was like literally 2 weeks and it was done.
Yeah. I mean, that was Japanese folk. They take that shit serious.
They do take your shit serious. That's why I had to pause. Like, yo, I'm not saying y'all are. I'm not saying not like that. But gang shit, gang war.
But I do think I feel like nowadays, specifically when you look at when you look at AEW and then you look at a
WWE.
little, so I won't say WWE. WWE, not yet. But like AEW, and I get the feeling of this with TNA right now. And recently I've been feeling it with with when it comes to New Japan, because I'm still new, I can't necessarily like solidly like declare this.
Yeah.
But like I do think with those places that I did say, these factions are together so that you can see your favorite wrestler on TV. Like I would say a good example of that is late game NWO. Late game NWO was just the way it was so that all these people that you're paying to be on your roster is getting some kind of TV time.
Okay, valid.
I feel the Death Riders is just so that these people can get some kind of TV time.
Which again goes right back into my scenario of these guys have nothing else to do. Put them in a group together. It makes them have TV time because they're in a team. And hey, we need team matches because they used to love those party team matches, and those were like the faction warfares that you would see, unit warfares that you would see in New Japan. So like they're doing, because remember we get all those preview matches before the actual freaking card.
Correct.
So yeah, I feel that's the thing. So to get to a conclusion of this, what do you feel is your ideology of what a true faction should be doing? What should we be seeing from the beginning until when after the faction is disbarred?
So it does kind of depend, because the faction, I feel like a faction can have two functions. It can take a couple of decent wrestlers, and then it can take a couple of wrestlers and give them a reason to exist and to do what they need to do, which is entertain the masses. All right, and that's one function, I feel, where it's just like you got a couple of guys, they're not doing anything on the roster, make them be a squad, and then they go out there and do things. To me, that's kind of sort of what
Which brand?
TNA,
Order 4?
not Order 4.
System?
That's what I feel the system is. It's just a bunch of guys who are good, but they don't have anything to do. So we're just going to put you guys together and see if y'all can make something happen, type deal.
Okay.
All right? That's what I feel they are. And then there is a faction like the Vision, which is we have a main event star. This main event star is going to bring you guys from wherever the fuck you are in the undercard and bring you up to as close, if not at, main event status. That's also what Evolution did. Evolution brought
Made Randy
Orton a made man. It made Batista a made man.
Yep.
And it made Ric Flair feel important again.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Very much so, because you could never think of like Ric Flair. Like, yeah.
And so, because Ric Flair did have, like, after Evolution disbanded, Ric Flair had a fantastic run leading all the way up to his retirement.
Yep.
His real retirement. The retirement that actually counts, in my opinion.
Hey, did you hear about that guy, the 76-year-old, or was it 70 or something year old wrestler?
Like 79 years old.
Yeah, doing that match. He was going.
Yeah. No,
Don't show that shit to Rick.
Don't
show that shit to Rick.
Ric Flair.
Don't
let him see it.
Don't let him see it.
Please don't let him see it, because then he's going to get his crazy ass out
But
there.
he was doing top rope moves and everything, bro.
Listen, if you take care of your body, unlike Ric Flair, you can do that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a thing.
Anyway,
but it's like I feel like those are the two reasons why a faction happens. It's either A, to make non-main eventers as close to a main event status, or B, it's to give this man, and this man a reason to do something. It's a reason to reinvent themselves and make them like a thing. And not a good example, but they tried and they're still trying of that would be the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Six is that example of taking a bunch of guys who you just have lying around, repurposing them and putting them together to try and make something cool, brand new, or whatever. Because that's kind of sort of what the Shield was too. It was three guys who they just put together, gave them a thing, and had them try and run with it and become great. And they did.
And it's funny to think that Chris Hero would have been replaced over Roman Reigns.
That would have been weird.
Yeah, that'd been very weird because Chris definitely would. Ooh, you know that.
I mean that probably would have just not been
That would
the
have
whole.
I got, but it's such a funny thing. Cause you just like. I remember we used to joke about when it first got popularized. Be like, next time I wet my shorty before it goes down, ooh, or like when you close to releasing, just ooh,
yeah,
that was a thing our young brains did.
Yeah,
young.
That was the thing. We have
young versions again. But
I could have stayed back.
Nah, I'm cool with embarrassing myself. But guys, I would love to hear you guys' opinion. Who are some of your favorite factions, like of all time? Again, people like NWO, Evolution, DX. We have current, like I said, if you feel like Death Riders are great, if you feel like the Conglomeration, the Don Callis family, the list goes on.
The Don Callis family is an interesting situation because number one, I feel the Don Callis family is being cock blocked a little bit by creative, in my opinion, because they've had some interesting segments where they've had the full family out there, like but the problem is just the fact that AEW's inapt creative just can't get their minds right to make stories properly, because we're like damn near a year deep into this whole bullshit with Okada and Takeshita, and they still have not properly just had a match. And it's like they keep doing the thing where it's all like, all right, make them mad. Like, all right, forget about it.
I'm telling you, I feel like it's
put
gonna
the pressure on. Put the pressure on.
I feel like this.
Oh shit, they about to fight. Oh snap is about to. And stop.
I feel like they're saving it for New Japan, bro.
Which is,
I feel like they're going to. They're not doing
why are we saving it for? And what for New Japan? Like what? What's the next super big New Japan pay-per-view?
Oblivion.
When is that?
I remember just saying it at New Roads. I want to say it's in March or April.
Now is that like a big event?
That's one of their big ones. Yeah, it's like they have the Big Four pay-per-views. They actually have Big Four pay-per-views.
I know we just had their the main big one.
Yeah.
So now we're at the
Oblivion, and then there's something in relation. I can't remember if it's not the G1. G1, I know it's as a tournament, but I don't think it's a pay-per-view at the end. But the G1 Classic is a big part of it. I know Oblivion is a part of one,
but even with that wouldn't make any fucking sense. Why would AEW, who writes both of these Japanese niggas' paychecks, want to have this big name match on a brand that they don't own or do anything with?
Because Japanese wrestling is a very traditional thing, and they like doing their things a certain way. So I feel like it would happen there, but I just don't feel like they would blow the load in AEW.
But that's where they should be blowing their load.
They should.
That's like being in an monogamous fucking relationship and then going next door to your neighbor and putting your dick in there and getting her pregnant. Why would you do that when you literally are married to this right here?
Same reason why Takeshita went over there with their title and defended it at Wrestle Kingdom as an AEW superstar.
What title did he have?
He had the fucking heavyweight title.
He never had the AEW title.
No, he had the New Japan title.
Well, yes, that's because he took the belt from New Japan.
Again, that's what I'm saying. So it's the same reason why he can go over there and do that.
But who did he fight? He fought a New Japan wrestler.
All right. But here's
Yes, he fought a New Japan wrestler, a contracted New Japan wrestler in the confines of his own home, and he lost. Sure, he did have to win the belt, but he won the belt from a New Japan. That's like the dumb shit that we have going on and goddamn TNA and NXT sometimes, where we had Trick Williams, who was the NXT champion, and Trick Williams, who was the TNA champion, and he's defending the TNA title against another NXT superstar at NXT. Or I don't think he ever did, but it would have been worse if he defended the TNA title against the NXT wrestler in TNA. That's absolute ludicrous. Luckily that did not happen. But that would have been the worst looking shit. And now here you are telling them to bust all kinds of guts.
I'm just saying, bro. They're very big on their traditional, like.
Then maybe New Japan need to fork up the money and buy these motherfuckers.
Well,
like what? Why would
I? The thing about it is with your Japanese wrestling.
Unless New Japan is giving me it's like, hey yo, listen, I know y'all got that Okada and Takeshita match going on, but like, what if I slide you a couple of bucks to allow that match to happen over here? Unless those couple of bucks is looking at least halfway like Saudi money, why would they do that? That would be a stupid move.
So again, I'm going off of just how they like keeping the traditional nature of like two Japanese wrestlers, you're wrestling in New Japan, or like wrestling in a Japanese ring, right? Because yes, they could definitely do it in America, but
so you're telling me when Andrade goes up against Bandito, it needs to happen in CMLL?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
because that's what that sounds like.
But that's Japanese wrestling for you, though. They're very traditional in their ways, and like, yo, things need to be done this way, and like that, that's their system. So that's what I was saying.
But both of these niggas are in a American company.
I know. I'm just going off of what they do in
when
their
has
world.
AEW done that?
They have not, bro. You're not getting it. Okay, I'm literally saying off of just their principles in Japanese culture and what they do, that is a thing. And I'm saying that they may do that in New Japan. And if they're not doing it AEW right now, maybe either one or two reasons why. They don't feel like it's the good time. Maybe it's not all in. Maybe they want to save it for all in. Or they'll do like a teaser there and then bring it to America. That's all I was saying.
See, but the problem is, now unless the point you're trying to make is that it's all stupid and nothing makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
Cause it's all stupid.
Yeah.
And nothing cause with what you just explained to me, that would mean like Okada's all like, Tony Khan, bitch. I want to have this match in New Japan because I'm a traditionalist, and since we're both two Japanese men, we should fight in a Japanese ring. Does any of this sound?
Yes, it very much does. It very much does with how they are. Yes, it very much is.
No, nah, bro. I'm
literally going off of just what they've done through the years, man.
But who has done it? Give me an example of where there was a match in another company.
Well, they never really had people that were like, yo, we're both working at this company. We need to go back over here and have that match. It's always been like, hey, he works for this company. He works for this company. Let him go over there and have that match. It's always been that, right? So with
Yes,
their
because they went
relationship
over there to have that match to
with
fight
another person from
who
that
works
company.
for that
You're
company.
correct. You are absolutely correct. But because they have this working relationship, they have that ability to do that. That is what I'm saying. Because you're not going to see, two TNA wrestlers wrestling in NXT. You're not going to see that. It's just not a thing we would do here. But in Japan, because they are willing to be like, these are two of our people to do that, they would be okay with that. They would be perfectly fine with that.
That's
It's a little bit of tribalism, yes.
it's not even tribalism. Number one, for me, that whole thought process is, for one, unless there is a lot of money being exchanged,
You're thinking of a booker. That's what you are constantly thinking. You're thinking as a booker and not even thinking in a sense of, okay, like outside of the booking mindset. Because yes, as a booker, it would make only the right sense to do in AEW. It only makes sense. But these are two people who are also wrestlers and who want to do things potentially their way. And if they say, hey, if they wanted to do that, that's what they wanted to do. And if they have the ability to do that, they'll probably do it.
maybe it is because I'm thinking like a booker, because there's nothing tying them to needing to do it over there. Both of these men used to be in New Japan.
Actually,
Both of these men.
Actually, Takesho never was a New Japan guy. He was a DDT guy.
Okay.
He was a DDT guy.
But it's one of those deals where, to me, both of these guys, one was in New Japan, one worked in another Japanese company.
Mm-hmm.
They purposefully left their Japanese companies to come to AEW. There is nothing holding them to those old Japanese companies anymore.
Unless one of them wins the title.
And neither of these two currently has really any kind of anything to do. Maybe Okada, but even Okada, the things that he's got going on have nothing to do with the title. Unless they were fighting each other for a New Japan belt of some kind, sure, maybe I can understand why that match would have to happen, because it is a New Japan title. Granted, New Japan looks real stupid and looking like TNA right now, getting cooked in the corner, because the only reasons why that match is happening is because they lost their belt to another company, and so now that other company is defending that, because at the end of that match, that belt does not go back to New Japan. It just goes back to the company, because neither of those two niggas work for the other company. And that's the thing. That's the part that, because if Takeshita
I get what you're trying to say now. Basically, in a booking standpoint, it makes no sense for these two individuals to go over there, even if it was a thing like that. There's no point. There's nothing binding them to that.
But even traditional wise, it doesn't make sense, because where I thought Takeshita's from New Japan, if he was from somewhere else, the fuck Takeshita got going on for New Japan? He has absolutely -1 allegiance to New Japan. To have this grudge match that's being built to even necessarily need to happen in New Japan. But then, of course, there's also that factor of, because it always comes down to booking, New Japan compared to AEW is bottom tier. Okay? It's low tier. It is what it is. That's the reason why AEW is partnering up with New Japan, because in this faction, AEW is trying to pull New Japan out the fucking trenches. But why would they, especially since AEW ain't doing too great themselves, take this amazing match potential that they have and put it on somebody else's platform?
Maybe to elevate that platform? Since you just said they're trying to pull them out the fucking...
But we know that's not the thing. We know that would never happen. Because if they wanted to do that, then we would have had Kenny Omega. Who is it? Kenny Omega and Okada. That should have been happening at New Japan.
Okay, now for the Continental title, that I can see what you're going with that. If you're going in that sense, but even still, even if
it's a monumental match.
So take that aside now. If you don't believe it's happening, then when the fuck is it gonna happen?
Now that is a discussion for another podcast, because who knows when it's going to happen. I could tell you when it should have happened, and yet it continues to not happen. And right now, if this was a child, this baby is way overcooked, and we're going to have a C-section, because this has been stewing for way too fucking long. If you don't understand, when
I get that. It was just you picked that. All right.
Because it's messy is the point that I'm also trying to make and get across with it. Because it's messy and it shouldn't have happened. So they should have induced this already and already had it, and we would have had wonderful highlights. It could have been a match of the year situation
all in,
and all this good stuff.
All in.
But that's the thing, though. If I'm not mistaken, no. I don't. When is All In? All In is like
August or something like that. I think
August time frame.
Think so.
Yeah, they could have had this at All In already. They could have.
Maybe they're probably booking it for this All In.
I hope we can clip this so that when All In comes around and this shit still doesn't fucking happen.
I guess it just will never fucking happen. Maybe it's just one of those matches that we're gonna just tease you and edge you as much as possible, and it's never gonna happen.
Just like goddamn Cope and Christian versus FTR, how that just kind of got that rematch got tossed to the wayside as of right now, because who knows where the fuck they are. But then again, but that's just AEW. That is AEW booking, unfortunately.
So my biggest take for this, guys, I want to ask you again, going back to the original question: what are some of your favorite factions of all time? What do you feel like any of those factions elevated everybody in the team? Do you feel like certain factions were just a waste of time? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, appreciate y'all thoughts in the comments. But
you know what? Because you made that wild ass statement, you made me forget the thing I was actually going to ask you. What is your favorite faction? Because mine's the Ministry of Darkness.
You know what? That is a good question to ask me at the end.
Like I said, mine is Ministry of Darkness. Undertaker being the leader. Now, I will say, talking about factions that failed, as much as I love the Ministry of Darkness, nobody in that faction got elevated. Minion, who gives a fuck? Viscera did nothing until much, much later. There was the Acolytes.
The Acolytes did become something great.
They get a little shine after
become something great.
But outside of that was it. So, barely.
That's a tough one, bro. Because my brain immediately said Nation of Domination, the Rock version.
After they kicked out Farouk.
Yeah. Because when they had that,
or as how you said, after they edged him out of the group.
I'm gonna have to revisit that question, bro. So, guys, see y'all next week, man. Well, y'all know the ring is sacred. The questions are real. The destruction is guaranteed. It's your host who likes to post, the Mazaku. That Swag Switch in the building. We out, guys.